So, it's been 5 months since Aspyr released the Battlefront Classic Collection to universal dismay. There have been broken graphics, broken controls, broken multiplayer, broken unlocks, broken cutscenes, broken menus, broken audio, broken bots, and the list goes on. After 3 patches, which changed some things while introducing a whole host of new bugs along the way, Aspyr have gone radio silent on the future of the Battlefront Classic Collection in order to push ahead with more broken AI remasters. So I wanted to go over all the things that are still broken in the hope that they are one day resolved, because a few of these things are still pretty game-breaking issues. Most of the issues I've encountered are in Battlefront 2, although universal issues like the control issues are present in Battlefront 1 as well. Side note, everything we'll be mentioning is on the Xbox Series X version of the Classic Collection, so maybe some of these aren't as bad on other platforms like PlayStation. Let's start off with the one that you'll notice first when you boot off Battlefront 2. The menu. In the original 2005 release, the menus showcase various iconic scenes from the movies, such as the opening scene from A New Hope, Echo Base, the Geonosis Arena, and so on. For some reason, Aspyr chose to run all these scenes through an AI video processor, resulting in some of the scenes turning out like that video of Will Smith eating spaghetti. This is made even worse by the fact that instead of putting the movie scenes through the AI and slapping the menu over the top of it, which would have been stupid enough on its own, Aspyr seemed to have taken a screen recording of the original menu, complete with its flickering hologram effect over the top. As a result of this, the AI have tried to remove the flickering effect from the original menu, which has distorted the movie footage even more. I'll show you a comparison. And the menu font too, they've still not added back the classic Battlefront font, we're still stuck with some poorly aligned stock font. The multiplayer. One of the biggest selling points for the Battlefront Classic Collection was the return of multiplayer servers, being able to play online with your friends again for the first time in years. At least for console players anyway. The servers for the Steam version have been up for years. Me and my friends all loaded in at midnight on launch in the hopes of assembling a fully manned ATT squad. Well, at least those of us in regions where the game was actually available to play at launch. We loaded in after Update 3 fixed the Xbox invite system, only to find that if you get in a multi-person vehicle, the second person's entire game immediately crashes back to the Xbox menu. This wasn't an issue in Battlefront 1, but in Battlefront 2 it ruined the number one thing we all got the Classic Collection for in the first place. And it'll just be you and your friends playing, since there's absolutely no one playing either game online anymore, and with the state of the game 5 months after launch, I'm not surprised. The graphics. The second most notable selling point for the Classic Collection at launch was its supposed 4K upscaled graphics. The overall lighting on maps, like Mustafar, just completely ruins the overall ambience of the map. The texture on certain vehicles is distorted. Planet models have been truly butchered by the AI upscaling. Just look at Coruscant. It looks like a mouldy meatball that rolled under the couch. Skyboxes have been messed up too, and massive seams along them where the AI upscaled, quote-unquote, textures no longer lie up at the edges. The weapon overheat meter overlaps. There's dozens of floating or misplaced textures across most of, if not all of the maps. Just look at this medical droid on Felucia.
Peter, how are you doing that?
I don't know, Lois. I'm scared.
Lightsabers do a bunch of weird things too. Somehow they end up behind certain graphics off in the distance, such as the waterfall on Yavin 4. And all the lightsabers have fat little chode sabers on the class select menu. And what's up with the draw distance and pop-in for the textures? You're seriously going to tell me that a console that is literally 600 times more powerful than the console that this game originally released on can't render in a little building in the distance? One of the biggest issues with playing the original Xbox versions of Battlefront 1 and 2 in 4K on Xbox One and Series X via backwards compatibility, other than the absence of online multiplayer, was that the textures reverted to the non-upscaled version from 2005 as soon as you went more than a couple meters away from an object, which caused some pretty jarring effects. So seeing that it's not really any better in this version is kind of embarrassing. Let me know down in the comments below if you've run into any other graphical issues I've forgotten to mention. The controls. Well, some of the things I've mentioned so far are mostly trivial things, which, well, problematic don't necessarily ruin the experience completely. The worst part of the Classic Collection, by far on console, is the controls.
Control, you must gain control.
The Classic Collection is based off of the PC build of the originals. So like many other badly ported mobile and PC games, I'm looking at you Bloons TD6.
The monkey!
The controller version is nearly unusable. You'll be relying on aim assist because with these joystick controls, instead of gradually aiming faster the further you push the joystick, like in the original Xbox and PS2 game, or any other FPS on console, there's just 2 aiming speeds and 0 stick dead zone. So if you so much as rest your thumb on the stick in any direction, the character will start aiming at speed 1, and if you press the stick all the way in a direction, it will start aiming at speed 2. This makes it harder to aim than on the old PSP port of Battlefront, where you had to aim using the face buttons. These poorly ported controls cause a whole load of other problems throughout the game, such as vehicles not being able to walk or sprint directly forwards, starfighters turning excruciatingly slowly, getting stuck on temporary invisible walls in front of you, general issues with sprinting, heroes getting locked facing forward for a few seconds if you attempt a sprint attack. The ability to lunge from enemy to enemy while playing as a lightsaber hero is crucial to staying alive and being stuck, not being able to turn properly while you get shot left and right. Just so painful. Bot issues. The bots in Battlefront have never been state of the art, getting stuck on everything, all gathering in one corner of the map. This can make certain maps really unbalanced when one team is blasting around in tanks and the other just leave them gathering dust.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
These problems are now 10 times worse than they were before, which makes them way easier to kill than they should be. Hey, just because it's a useful bug doesn't excuse it from the list. These little issues were understandable back in 2005 in a game with less than a year's development, but coming back to re-release this, knowing about all these glitches for the past 20 years and not doing anything about it despite charging £30 is Unlocks and medals. Accolades like Frenzy, Guardian and War Hero are staples of Battlefront 2 and have just had issue after issue since the game's launch. From working to not working at all to sort of working, the state that they're currently in is possibly the most frustrating yet. Medals will work as they should up until you get to legendary status, where you permanently unlock the associated bonus. You will lose the ability to unlock the award, meaning you'll be stuck on the same number, 64, of every award forever. Conclusion. These aren't even all the issues that are still plaguing this game almost 6 months after relaunching a game that used to work fine, and if Aspyr thinks they can go on to re-releasing broken versions of Star Wars games after leaving this game in the state that it's in, I can only hope that people are smart enough to hold on to their money and wait for something better. If you found this video entertaining or informative, be sure to like and share it out there. Maybe it gets enough attention Aspyr might actually come back and fix some of the issues. What do you think?